Ladies and gents, hello and welcome. My name, of course, is Open Potato, and this is Hearts of Iron 4 with the Man the Guns expansion. It's brand new, and it offers a whole bunch of new focus trees for different countries. It also has a significant overhaul of the transportation and the naval system. And I'm really looking forward to exploring some of those things today. This series is going to be called Unite The Anglosphere, because we are going to be playing as the United Kingdom, and we are going to be doing a whole bunch of really weird and wacky stuff. The United Kingdom was one of the countries that had an extended national focus tree in the update. So we're just going to go ahead, select a scenario, play as the UK. Stanley Baldwin is the man that we start as. And we start with King George V. So let's select the UK and let's jump right on into it. So, as I say, we'll have a little peek at the focus tree as soon as we boot in, and we'll talk a little bit about what we want to do. Okay, so let's jump into the focus tree here. So, as you can see, I mean, the original United Kingdom focus tree in the original Hearts of Iron used to be way smaller than this. Now we've got an absolutely gargantuan focus tree that just sprawls all the way over here. Anyway, there's a couple of interesting things which I think we should probably talk about. This is one of them, revisiting the colonial policy and then following this focus tree down here. Guide the colonies towards Dominion independence, blah 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 blah, all the way down to decolonization, which I think is really cool. So you can basically get rid of all of the United Kingdom's colonies, and that would of course be British Raj, Australia, New Zealand. I'm just trying to think. Are there any others? Canada, of course, yeah, and South Africa. Yeah, so there we go. That's all that we have at the moment, and also British Malaya as well. But anyway, we're not interested in that. That is not something that we're particularly interested in doing. Not on this playthrough anyway. But that is one of the brand new options. One of the other really important options that you can now undertake is a motion of no confidence, no further appeasement. Right. So this will actually put Churchill in power way before whenever he does end up coming to power, which is 1939, 1938. I can't honestly remember, but this is a way that you can get your military kick started way sooner than by waiting for all of the historically accurate events to happen. Anyway, this is the new area that applies to us. Obviously, we've still got the communist path for the UK, but the fascist path is kind of over here. I mean, this is kind of the fascist path here, a British path to fascism. But what we're interested is right here. This is brand new. So the God Save the King event is probably going to be the one that start things off, and we're just gonna follow this path down here. Bring the Dominion back into the fold. The board is set, the pieces are in position. Now is time to set our plan in motion and correct the notion of independent present in the minds of the Dominion's leaders. So that's something that we are going to be able to do. Reclaim the jewel in the British crown. Yep, so the British Raj. I'm presuming that at some point in this playthrough, the British Raj might do some sneaky stuff and not be ours. But we'll have to wait and see about that. And then this is the one that has got me started thinking about a playthrough called Unite The Anglosphere, because holy cow, we will gain an annex war goal against the United States. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? And then the last one on the tree is the sun never sets. The sun never sets on the British Empire, which will give us a whole bunch of bonuses for naval research. And that's really one of the reasons why I selected this playthrough as one of the most interesting, because the game has a pretty radical overhaul of the Navy system. So at the moment, you can see all of these different types of cruisers that we can build. York class early hull cruiser. As you can see, we can now actually select exactly what we want to see on each individual boat. So, you know, we can go through and customize a whole bunch of different things about this boat. We want to get a sonar, sure, let's get a sonar. So it's going to be really, really important to have a really strong navy. And our navy, actually, we start with a specific naval doctrine. So we start with the fleet in being. A strong fleet focused around battleships means that we are a force to be reckoned with when deployed at sea. So I think that building really strong, really heavy fleets and building really strong battleship groups would be very, very beneficial indeed. So hopefully we'll be able to get some great battleships. We'll be able to get some great upgrades. We're also able to chase after a whole bunch of different armaments, which is something that I'm pretty excited about. So we'll be able to pursue upgrades and individual upgrades for our ships. And that is what we really want to focus on. Sure, we will need some conventional forces. We're still going to be doing, you know, conventional war in, you know, maybe in Europe, maybe not. But we're definitely going to be doing conventional war eventually in the United States and most probably in the colonies. So we need to bear that in mind, and we can't just build all boats. We need to build other stuff too. But interestingly enough, speaking about conflict in Europe, what is the best way to go about making sure that we can focus on our objectives? And as abhorrent as it actually sounds, I feel that maybe going down this path down here, either allying with Germany or having a non-interference treaty with Germany, is probably the way to go. And the reason that I say that is because if we want to do all of this stuff, it's going to be almost impossible to do it whilst fighting Germany. So I'm thinking that in order to try and get this stuff accomplished, we're gonna have to at least have a non-interference policy with Germany, or maybe even an alliance. Although that is a pretty mean stability bonus. Yeah. Well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what ends up working, because I'm fairly certain that is going to be a pretty hard bullet to swallow. But anyway, let's go through and sort of set up some research. We'll talk a little bit about the new features as they unlock. One of the new features that you can see up here is fuel. So 276 days, that's 276 days, since it's highlighted in green, it's 276 days till we have a full fuel capacity. As you can see, we've got a current number of fuel, we've got daily fuel, we've got a base gain, fuel capacity, and then each of the individual services and how much they're all using. The fuel stockpile is on some level dictated by the economy type that we currently have, but it can also be increased with a fuel silo. So we can build fuel silos, and that will increase our maximum capacity, which is pretty darn cool. We want to try and actually increase our fuel production substantially. This is absolutely something that we're going to need to do. If we're going to have a big navy, then we're going to need to make sure that we have massive fuel reserves, and we also have massive fuel production, so that if these guys go out on patrol, if they go out and patrol a specific area, or if they go out and, you know, do some convoy raiding, whatever, it doesn't particularly matter. We're going to need to make sure that we've got the fuel in place to make sure that we've got them covered. Okay, so let's go and set up some research. As I sort of alluded to earlier, I do want to do a lot of naval research, especially early naval research. We're going to have to keep that in mind. We're just going to have to keep in mind that we want to try and, you know, get our boats to be immediately strong at the start of the war. Depth charge thrower. Truthfully, I'm not actually worried about doing much submarine hunting. I mean, I'm trying to think of like some of the other massive naval powers. I mean, obviously the Germans had their U-boats, and that to me sticks as one of the things that would be, you know, a primary use for those depth charges. So I'm not going to focus on that. Improved airline catapult. That's a maybe. I think that we should probably try and get a battleship. Look at that. That is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. All of these lovely, lovely models in 3D. How wonderful. Alright, well, let's get a battleship researched. Let's get a brand new submarine researched as well. Let's get a torpedo launcher. And then maybe let's not go for something Navy related. Let's go for... Well, we can't do that yet. We'll get, sure, we'll get some machine guns. Alright, so on the whole, not too bad. We do have a bunch of civilian factories that are currently free. Well, where do we really want to build stuff? Obviously, we need to, really, build more civilian factories. That's an absolute must, don't get me wrong. However, I'm thinking that we actually try and prioritize dockyards. Dockyards, to me, would be the obvious thing to do. And part of me wants to build them up in Scotland, since if we are going to be rallying troops, if we're going to be building, well, anything of use, it'll probably be down in England. As a Scot, that really hurts me to say, but sure. Let's go and get a whole bunch of dockyards built up in Scotland. There we go. Okay, so basically, the entirety of Scotland and a little bit of Northern England will be filled with a whole bunch of dockyards. And you know what? Let's fill Northern Ireland with a whole bunch of dockyards as well. I think that that'll probably do for now. We're not looking to trade any goods at the moment. That's not the traded goods screen. This is the traded goods screen. We are going to have to be trading oil. I'm convinced that we're going to have to trade oil at some point. Yeah, we absolutely must. We must trade oil. There is simply no way. 2 oil available by Alexandria, 6 oil available by Abu Dhabi. Okay. Alright. That's cool. Rights given by Mexico. Yeah, we need to keep all of this in mind. We need to keep all of this in mind when we think about oil. And in fact, trying to take over the Middle East or take over areas with oil and fuel will be hugely beneficial for us because, of course, we need it. We really, really need it. So we need to think about that. Iraq as well. Iraq and Iran. Unfortunately, I don't believe the... Yeah, secure Iraq, secure Iran. Yeah, that's all mutually exclusive in the steady as she goes policy group. So, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to secure Iraq or secure Iran or any of that nonsense, because if we were able to do that, then that would, yeah, secure the oil imports. Well, then that would guarantee us some oil shipments further down the line. But unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do that. At least, I mean, we can still go to war, obviously, but we're not going to be able to do it through the policy tree. Speaking of, actually, we should probably pick an initial policy to go with. Add 2 building slots, add 2 civilian factories. I mean, this is a no-brainer first policy, right? So let's get that up and running. You know, we've got a lot of time. We've got a lot of time before we need to do a change in course. So we will have the opportunity to do that, but obviously there's not really any rush. Free military factories. We've got a couple of free military factories and a couple of free dockyards. I mean, military equipment. We need a lot of military equipment. Oh, interesting. Nice. So we can equip a whole bunch of military factories to working on infantry equipment. I mean, what are our logistics? What do we need? We have a deficit of a whole bunch of equipment. I think that's probably the first thing that we should work on, trying to correct the deficit. So we'll get 5 bits of support equipment, and then the rest. No, actually, maybe a bit less than that. There we go. That's probably about right. Okay, so 37 a day. It's going to take a couple of days to work on that deficit. Artillery as well. We're going to work on the artillery. Dockyards. What are we going to do for dockyards? So we're building a bunch of cruisers at the moment, and lovely. Look, you can see the name. You can see the name of the thing that we're actually building. How gorgeous is that? That's lovely. HMS Apollo. That's very, very cool. Yeah, we're building a whole bunch of destroyers at the moment, and they're all about to finish. They're all about to finish working. In fact, or they're all about to finish being built, which is pretty darn interesting. Something to note. We can build the Admiral class, but that is going to take a significant amount of effort. Same with the Nelson class. In fact, well, technically, I don't think we can even build that because the design is over the max for this class, the max allowed cost for this class. So we're gonna have to perhaps tone down the production cost. And actually, that's something else that we're going to talk about in a little bit. We're going to have to tone that cost down if we want to build it. But basically, it doesn't particularly matter for all intents and purposes. Let's renew that. I want to build ships pretty much infinitely. And we've got 5 or so free dockyards. Well, it's just for now. We're gonna alter this as we go. Don't get me wrong. But we'll have a lot of free dockyards coming up very, very soon. No divisions in basic training. I'm not actually super bothered about that at the moment. We will have the opportunity to train troops as we go. But for now, I think that we've probably got enough of a backlog anyway of infantry equipment that doesn't particularly matter what we do. So let's not worry about that. Also, I can't let my air game go to a bad place just because we're going to be focusing on boats. So we need to be very, very careful. Anyway, what I was going to say a little bit earlier was that we've now got some decisions to make. Now, there's a whole bunch of decisions here, but the primary one that will concern us, getting rid of all that, focusing on this, is this. And what we want to do is that we actually do want to withdraw from the Navy Treaties. One of the following must be true. More than 20% world tension. Second London Naval Disarmament Conference underway. So that is going to happen in 120 days. So that's cool. It's fine. But it basically means that we're going to be able to build way more powerful ships, and that's kind of what we're looking for. We're also going to be able to get a little bit of extra political power from this gateway to Europe ability, so that's going to be something to keep in mind. Expand the Burma Road. All of this stuff is really, really important. Nation building in the British Raj. Yep, daily political power cost, but we gain 10% stability and daily democracy support in the British Raj as well. Nation building in Malaya, all this stuff is stuff that we're going to need to do. But at the moment, we don't have any decisions available that we can take. I mean, we can take these decisions, but I'm just going to get rid of them because I'm not super interested. Well, actually, I guess I can. Sure, why not? We'll just do them both. I mean, it doesn't particularly matter. We're not going to gain any political power at all for the next, whatever it is, 120 days, but it doesn't particularly matter. I'm not that bothered about it. No divisions in basic training, that's not a problem. And unassigned divisions, I imagine that we probably have quite a lot of unassigned divisions. And we do. That's not a problem because they don't need to be assigned anywhere because we are just waiting to go to war. We're waiting to go to war. It's going to be a fairly long time before we go to war, and I don't think that we'll end up going to war with Germany. But I'm very, very excited. I'm very, very excited about all of the shenanigans that are going to happen in this playthrough. Honestly, truthfully, I'm very, very excited. Do we want to get ourselves a general? Do we want to get ourselves a general? Reconnaissance, promotion cost, defense, logistics, politically connected. Truthfully, I think that you're probably the best. Alright, so we got ourselves a general. We are, of course, going to need to get ourselves also we're going to need to get ourselves an admiral or two, which is going to be quite good. And I'm very, very much hoping that we're going to be able to get some really, really good admirals. You seem pretty darn good. Blockade runner. Superior tactician. I'm going to pick you up. I'm going to pick you up, and you're going to be head of the fleet group, which we'll deal with at a later date. But yeah, we've got an army general who I just thought we'd pick up, which is fun. Anyway, yeah, I think that we're gonna actually wrap the first episode up here. I know that we haven't actually done anything, but I feel that that's a pretty darn good overview of what we are gonna try and do. It's interesting to note actually that the United Kingdom is one of the new countries with an expanded focus tree, but the others are the Netherlands, Mexico, and the United States. The United States, I imagine, we're going to see lots of Let's Plays on YouTube because they've got a brand new Senate mechanic, which basically you need to keep your senators on side if you want to make decisions. So there's a whole bunch of really, really interesting stuff in the American tech tree that I'm sure will be very, very interesting. Also, it might be interesting to see what Mexico actually does, because Mexico can now go to war with the United States. That is in their focus tree. Let me see if I can find that. Oh my goodness, this is great. And they've also got a brand new church mechanic, which I think is pretty darn cool. Where is it? I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is, but I'm pretty sure you can now go to war against America, which is kind of cool. Rescind the Mexican secession. Here we go. Yeah, gains conquer focus war goal against the United States, and then yeah, this one. Okay, so there you go. So yeah, Mexico can now go to war with the United States. I don't know if that's going to happen. We'll have to wait and see. Certainly, it's going to be very, very interesting indeed. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited. But on that note, ladies and gents, we're going to wrap things up here. It's been a little bit of a sort of setting the pace episode for the first one, but that's not a problem because that's going to allow us to get right into the next one in full swing. Thank you very, very much for watching, ladies and gents. My name's been Potato. This has been Unite the Anglosphere in Hearts of Iron 4. Man the guns. I'll see you next time. Bye.